to come in and do the damage. Yeah.
他呢，其实这次呢，他在讲的是，因为不好意思，因为刚刚可能也是我在 miss 掉，那么主要呢是跟我们的胰岛素是有很大的一些关系。那么其实呢，在这里呢，他会讲到就是高密度胆固醇，那么是要进入到血管里。然后其实呢，在这里当中，我们主要考虑还是就是叫胰岛素抵抗这个话题。那胰岛素其实在这里起到一个非常关键的一个作用。
Okay. And high cholesterol level is bad for health. So there were several studies. I think the most recent one was done either in Norway or Sweden that showed that as you age, an increase in cholesterol level, especially for women, actually helps you protect against health or all-cause mortality. So higher cholesterol as you age, it's actually an indicator of lower risk factors for death and disease.
Okay. 那么它是比较长，因为他在说是其实在挪威和瑞典等等，他们已经在研究关于我们胆固醇。那么也不可以，就是不能说是一个高胆固醇在血液当中是一个不好的事情。那么其实随着年龄的增长，我们的胆固醇也是有一定的数值，可能会有一些风险，但是不是太绝对的。
Okay. So I'll just go over briefly what cholesterol actually is, and maybe we can understand how it works. We use the term cholesterol, but really what we're talking about when you go to the doctor and you get tested is something called lipoproteins. So in the acronym, LDL stands for low density lipoprotein. HDL stands for high density lipoprotein. So these are what we're talking about. So these wrap the cholesterol or triglycerides in the blood and allow them to move through the body.
因为呢，其实不可以，就是我们会用的是高密度和低密度，但是呢，其实我们在这一当中就是解释什么是胆固醇。那么胆固醇当中，其实胆固醇只是我们的其中的一个就是lipid，就是一些脂肪。那么它呢，其实是在整个的一些就是在动物当中就是说我们在整个的就是动物当中，我们都是有就是整个的一个生命当中都是必须的。那么在我们人体当中，那么我们是那我们是可以就是我们可以理解成为它是一个脂肪性的蛋白质。那么它会有一些不同的表现形式出来。那么我们通常我们会看到是LDL、HDL， 那么其实还有其他别的，就是 VLDL 和 LDL， 就是低密度和其实 depend 是他们的就是他们脂肪细胞的密度。所以 lipoprotein 就是说脂肪属于脂肪性的蛋白质，它们的密度那么去命名的。
So the issue with LDL, and I've got it starred there as SDLDL, which means small dense LDL. The problem with LDL is if it's allowed to stay in the bloodstream. So HDL has a processing time in the body of a few hours. LDL is about 2 days. And what happens if you have a lot of anything that's high glycemic, anything that spikes insulin, and anything that requires the body to produce and use LDL, the insulin in the body, because sugar is so toxic, the insulin sticks around in the body, and it interferes with the processing and clearing of LDL. The LDL becomes oxidized, and then that's when your body sends actually cholesterol towards the LDL so to help protect the body against the damaged LDL. So there's a vicious cycle here where if you're eating too much sugar, too much grains, and foods that spike LDL, which is mostly sugar, then you're going to have an issue with arterial damage.
Okay. SDLDL 可以去理解成是一个非常小的，然后非常小密度的低密度脂肪。那么它呢，其实有很多的一些方式在身体里边，比方说它可能会会继续发展成一个是低密度的胆固醇。那么当然是它是跟整个的胰岛素之后的会有一些更多的一些方式。那么它其实也是有一些 它就是我们的保护作用那不好意思，因为很长sorry because it's a little bit longer
Right.
the last part.
Oh, the last part. Sure.
Sorry.
Yes, no problem.
I didn't write down.
No problem.
Okay,
So yeah, the anything that causes insulin to spike or remain in the blood is going to cause the LDL to become oxidized, so that and become small, dense LDL, and that damages the LDL, and the liver can't actually process it, and that becomes toxic to the body. Now there's a cholesterol response to help deal with that, and that's what the issue is.
OK，
Yeah.
那么因为是首先对我有限的英文是一个非常大的 challenge， 因为没有记下来，所以呢在翻译过程当中出现了一些小错误，其实之前非常抱歉。那么呢我让我们的 Alex 去重复了这个话题。那其实呢就是说，在我们的就是已经受伤害的一些低密度的胆固醇，那么在它的过程当中，其实我们身体是有保护作用。那之后呢，我们这一块其实说整个的身体是有一个整个的一个调整和保护。
Right. So a healthy body, one of the reasons why if you go for a blood test and your cholesterol profile is so important is if the LDL doesn't hang around, what happens is HDL is actually partially responsible for collecting LDL and sending it back to the liver. So as you become healthier, it's one of the reasons why your HDL tends to go up and your LDL goes down is because your body's doing what it's supposed to do.
OK， 那么这个其实是跟我们的其实跟我们的整个的我们高密度的胆固醇，其实它是可以收集到一些低密度胆固醇回到肝脏当中再去代谢。那么它这一块呢也是一个这个过程呢也是非常的重要的。然后 OK。
All right. Okay, no problem. So I'm just going to go because I'm taking a long time here. I'm just going to go towards the key takeaways. So this is really important. As long as you keep these things in mind, this is basically what's really important about this presentation. What's bad for us is our diet and lifestyle. Okay, if we stick to whole natural foods, our body just will take care of itself.
那么今天呢，我们其实我们在讲我们整个的一个胆固醇，包括我们的高密度和低密度，还有甘油三酯，其实它们不是坏的。那么它们是我们的 body， 就是我们的身体当中会做出一定的反应。
The second thing is we talked about the insulin already. Is keeping your insulin levels low will actually help your, it's good for diabetes, it's good for cholesterol, it's good for so many things and a good health profile.
OK， 那我们刚才也讲到了一个关于胰岛素的一个话题。那么就是我们要保持我们的胰岛素一些它的等级比较低的话，也是可以帮助我们身体的甘油三酯的一些数值。那么我们这个单位就是我们有损伤的一些胆固醇等等，那么这些也是会有帮助的。
It's also not really important to just look at your LDL or HDL, not just the numbers, but the ratios are also really important. I think we had, I think it was Dr. Bruce who talked about that, or one of the other presenters last weekend, that you need to look at the ratios, right? Your triglycerides to HDL, your LDL to HDL. Understanding those ratios is more important than just looking at your LDL or HDL.
OK， 那么我们在这里呢，就是说。其实我们整个健康不单单要看我们的高密度胆固醇或者是低密度胆固醇的一些数值，那么其实我们还要再参考其他的像甘油三酯还有一些其他的别的数值。那么在上一次的Dr. Bruce 那么也在讲过这些话题。
Right. The other thing is, as well as going in for a cholesterol test, other tests such as your HbA1c, which I think Dr. Bruce also mentioned, looking at your sugar levels over 90 days, or things like your hsCRP, which is your high sensitivity C-reactive protein. They're really good markers of glycation in your body and also of inflammation. So if you just look at, I've got high LDL, but your hsCRP is low and your HbA1c is okay, you're probably okay. So you need to take a look at your overall, a lot of these health markers, put them together and kind of understand what's happening in your body.
OK， 那么对于我们来 讲，我们要看他们所有的数值，那么去放到一起，然后去看我们的整个的身体的健康状态。
Right. We talked about the correlation between higher higher cholesterol levels as we age, and this is true in women. It's more pronounced as women. As women age, their risk, as their cholesterol goes up, their risk for health issues just looks like this. It just goes continually down.
那么在女性当中可能会出现就是胆固醇偏高，但是呢，就是作为我们的 age 来讲，那其实我们就是还是要做还要做更多的一些管理。那么其实我们在就是随着年龄的变化也是有变化的。
Right, and finally, the last and most important point, you're going to see this with diabetes. You're going to see this with so many other things. The key is insulin management through managing, carbohydrates and those type of things, especially refined carbohydrates and processed food. It's not really fat management. With fat, we want to stick to healthy fats and less refined foods, but really the key is controlling your insulin levels.
那其实呢，下一个话题就是说，我们要注重于所有的胰岛素管理，而不是只是一个我们单纯看我们的一个脂肪的一个管理。那么其实，在这一点当中，那么我们有很多的一些像是糖尿病啊等等的这些疾病当中的管理当中，我们要保证我们的胰岛素的胰岛素的就是等级水平。
All right. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
谢谢。